This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
And now that I'm the proud owner for 20, I haven't slept much this week.
Oh no, we don't need that.
I broke the rule of, I have this in it, but I'm not even going to hook my PlayStation up until I go on my week off. So it's not even put myself in that position. Yeah, that lasted about 3 hours. And I was like, I'll just hook it up. I'll go ahead and just get it set up.
Yeah.
Because you got to do the downloads and the updates.
Oh yeah.
Just get it set up. So
yeah.
All right, so I did that, and then I was like, well, I'll go ahead and at least set my settings. I'll make Liverpool my team, and I'll just see. And I was like, well, I can go ahead and create my guy to start a career. That'll be fun. I'll just do that, just see how that works.
Yeah.
I can, run some training and, play a game with him and just see how, and it's 1 a.m. Son of a bitch. I gotta be up at 5 and go to work. Son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
And, tonight is the first night that I haven't. Tonight's the first night I haven't come home. Played the game, so.
Well, we'll be quick so you can get right back to your year annualized football franchise fun.
No, I'm going to bed when I get off tonight. I'm still going to work again tomorrow.
We're gonna get some work done here on the podcast. This is episode 287 of the Foreign Affair Podcast. Welcome everyone. I am Edward Green, joined as always by McCall in Crime, Wes Bradshaw. We got a fun one for you today, folks. We're going to be going over the weekend that was in the Premier League. We're going to be previewing the big match that'll probably be just dreadful and awful, as all big hyped up matches tend to be for this weekend. We'll also be doing a quick Champions League recap. We'll be going through that as we finish group stage week 4 there. We'll be hitting the news and notes, the watch for, and the So Raw. Maybe we'll see. Hey, if nothing else, I will have a piece of So Elite Raw this week, because it's our weekly Dio Madden Brendan Williams update. So we'll have that.
I love how you've slowly taken control of this segment.
Yes.
It's taken 5 years for it to morph from me just talking about wrestling to you turn it into basically a wrestler talking about anime.
Yeah. What happened to Dio Madden this week? Tune in later to find out. As always, the podcast is presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop, as well as Alicia's Pills and Things. Listen, if you're an Ajax fan, it was a tough few minutes there at Stamford Bridge the other night. What better way to console yourselves and shed your Dutch ways, then getting a nice body pillow. I don't know if we do international shipping on these. You'll have to ask Alicia herself. But get yourself a nice body pillow so you can have something nice to hold at night. And remember the glory.
I enjoy that comment, the shedding your Dutch ways.
Yeah, I know. Every time.
Why can't you be a proud Dane?
So give her a ring over there on her Facebook page at Alicia's Pillows and Things. She can hopefully get you the hook up there for your international shippings. And if you're here in the United States, hey, maybe you're a Washington Nationals fan. You're super excited. Get your Nationals gear. Get pumped, and for that World Series win, check out Alicia's Pillows and Things. Again, her page is on Facebook. Check her out there and get your house hooked up with some great sports stuff from Alicia's Pillows and Things. Speaking of things happen.
Well, I was going to say, of course, speaking of international shipping, and we like to talk about the worldwide footprint that we have on this show.
Yes.
We mean you, the Balkans.
Yes.
And we would like to welcome a new listener to our pod this week, someone who will download us every week. She promised, and that is our new Japanese contingent.
Oh,
konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Welcome, glorious Nippon. Thank you so much for joining us here.
It's Naha Nippon wherever you tell all about the anime. We'll talk the anime. But welcome to our Japanese friend.
I think she should start providing us with an anime corner. A weekly anime corner.
No, she doesn't need to do that at all.
How hath Japan changed her this week? That's the new segment.
Maybe we could do that segment, but I don't think she's doing anime corner.
Fun times.
I'll leave that to you and Brennan Williams.
It's the bullet train. Hey.
Leave that to you and Dio Madden.
Speaking of bullet trains, United's getting hit by one right now as they drop another match in the Premier League, this time to Bournemouth. 1-0 is the score there. Didn't expect a Bournemouth game to only feature one goal, but here we are. Josh King does get the winner on halftime as it cherries up the cherries, and United drop yet another match. Arsenal similarly failed to get a win at home. This one was to Wolves, those plucky Wolves. They do get an equalizer, as they've done it quite a few times. A bit of a late equalizer, not super late this time. Still 15 minutes to play when Raul Jimenez equalized for Wolverhampton, canceling out Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's initial goal for the match.
That's Captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to you.
We'll get to that, don't you worry. Manchester City tries to keep pace with Liverpool with a bit of a come from behind 2-1 victory over Southampton. James Ward-Prowse, our favorite Ward-Prowse on the show, get the goal for Southampton in the 13th minute, stunning the citizens at home. But the coon, Sergio Aguero, comes out in the 70th minute to score the equalizer for City. And then Kyle Walker, the first good thing he's done in about a year for Manchester City, gets the winner in the 86th minute to get them all 3 points. Newcastle beats West Ham 3-2. They had to weather a late storm from West Ham as Robert Snodgrass got a late goal to pull them within one in the 90th minute, but could not overcome the first 3-goal salvo from Newcastle, as that's a big win for Newcastle to make their way up the table. Sheffield United, they just keep trucking on. A 3-0 victory at home against Burnley. It's a brace for John Lundstrom, and this Sheffield United team just very impressive. Wolves, very impressive last year in their debut season back up in the Premier League. Sheffield United having a similar time of it here as they've re-entered the Premier League, currently sitting now 6th in the table. Impressive stuff for Sheffield. Brighton and Hove.
Really the difference in that, I mean, people last year were looking at Wolves like, they could do some. Wolves had spent some money. Mm-hmm. And Wolves had that Portuguese contingent, they had Portuguese internationals, and there was kind of some backroom dealings there that got them what they got. So Wolves last year weren't really a shock with their success. Right. Who the hell thought Sheffield United was going to be anything?
I had them pegged for relegation.
Yeah, I mean,
Shocking.
they didn't go out and spend a lot of money, and they didn't, go flashy, a guy like Ruben Neves who, big teams around Europe wanted. There's nobody on Sheffield that big teams around Europe want. And here they are, man. They're just playing their brand of football, and they're going after it. They're playing very British.
Very British. Oh, not Big Sam foot forward, maybe, but they are playing very proper hard British football. Brighton and Hove, proper Britain football. They beat Norwich 2-0. That's a big win for them, as these two teams are near at least Norwich trying to get out of the relegation zone. Brighton and Hove making their way up into the top half of the table. Another strong season there. Obviously, Chris Houghton, their former manager, a bit of a controversial decision to get rid of him at the end of last year after they stayed up. Seems like things are starting to go pretty well for them, though. 11 matches through the season. Controversial a little bit over at Vicarage Road, as Chelsea do maintain a 2-1 victory over Watford. Christian Pulisic, he can't stop scoring. Stars and stripes forever. He gets what would be the winner. The second goal for Chelsea in the 55th minute. Gerard de la Feu with a penalty in the 80th. There was also some VAR controversy because they can't have a match without VAR controversy anymore. So we'll get to in a minute. Leicester beats Crystal Palace 2-0. This was a big match, kind of trying to see where exactly is Palace, after their very good start to the season against a somewhat soft schedule. Leicester comes to town, does take them down. Palace falls 2-0 here. Jamie Vardy has a goal in this one as Leicester keeps it up there. And then this was a contentious one, folks. Everton 1, Tottenham 1. Sank to Son gets the eventual equalizing goal in the 97th of what became a 112-minute match. Thanks to the 12 minutes of stoppage time. Cancels out Dele Alli's 63rd minute goal, which I do believe was his first of the season in the Premier League. No, I'm sorry, it's the second in the Premier League this season. Dele Alli may be starting to round back into form, but of course the big talking point of this match was Heung-min Son going in behind Andre Gomes with a slide challenge, and through a poor challenge and with Gomez's cleats getting caught in the dirt, and then Serge Aurier also coming in and sort of diverting Gomes. Gomes had a absolutely horrific injury. It's what looks to be a dislocation of his right ankle. Heung-min Son was given a red card. That red card was then rescinded later this week on appeal, so he will not have to serve a suspension for that. But you saw the side, Son horrified after the challenge and seeing what had happened to Gomes. Everton players go into the locker room after the match to console Son and tell him, hey, we know you didn't mean to do this. It's okay. We're not mad at you. We forgive you for this, dude. So a good show of sportsmanship there from the Everton side, and what was an absolutely tragic time for Gomes. I keep saying his name wrong. I apologize. I believe this is also Gomes' second major injury like this of his career. So we'll see if he's able to come back from this. His year is most likely done, and hopefully he will be able to resume his career at a later date. But Wes, this was a very interesting match that produced a lot of talking points. There was backlash to some of the articles focusing on Son's grieving process, and some people going so far as to say he was crying fake tears, which is unbelievable in my mind. Although it's the internet, so it is what it is. But this also showed potentially the whole thing of professional fouls. And it's funny because we actually talked a little bit about this I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago when Palace played Arsenal and Guendouzi near the end of the match literally tackled Zaha on a breakaway chance. And we talk about how silly these professional fouls have been getting and how dangerous they can be. And it seems like that's kind of what this was for Son. He went in from behind, no real chance to get the ball, but it's a play we see almost every week in England. And it just so happens this time it breaks a guy's ankle. And so the question is this going to be something where we see a rule change that starts to limit what those quote unquote professional fouls are and starts giving out harsher penalties to prevent something like this, even if it's a rare occurrence, but just saying, hey, don't do this anymore because we have a worst case scenario and it's bad?
I think it's early to start thinking about that. God, right now the last thing the freaking Premier League needs are more changes.
Yeah.
Let's keep adding. Hey, I know what. Let's let VAR check. What do you think?
Well, you know what, VAR. That's the crazy thing. VAR didn't check this, and that's the weirdest part because it's like this is something VAR should be used for, and there was Anthony Taylor, the referee in the match, initially had produced a yellow card, and then after seeing the injury, revised it to a red. And that's something where if you can go to VAR and say, look, it was a poor challenge, but it wasn't potentially a red card worthy challenge, maybe he changes that. But still, with these sorts of, you see guys tugging on players' jerseys from behind. You can easily blow out a guy's hamstring if you do stuff like that. I just wonder if...
I don't know. I see it more as... this is an isolated incident. There is a... I don't know. I believe with it just being, this is a very unusual circumstance that took place. I don't know if I see that this is going to lead to the outcry for massive rule change. Because, the other thing is, if you start doing that, you are massively changing the Premier League.
True.
And the Premier League prides itself on its physical, tough, athletic play that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And, changing things in the Premier League, that's not usually much of an option. The Premier League doesn't do change.
I just wonder.
At least not.
We have a term for it, and I see it get bandied about, and I think I don't know if it's necessarily what Son did, but it's sort of what Guendouzi did, and we see it a lot. Shithousery. That's what I think is like. Yeah, it's fine if you want to be physical. It's fine if you want to have strong physical presence. What I'm talking about is when you're not even making a play to the ball. When the foul is so obvious and it's just like, yeah, okay, we get it. We know you were trying to stop a breakaway, but you had no ability to even get to the ball. Like everyone in the stands knows it. As soon as the guy usually commits the foul, he already knows the card is coming. I wonder if it's in those sorts of situations that we might start to move towards harsher penalties. That's where I'm getting. I understand strong tackles are a part of the English football. I totally get that. I'm talking about, as I said, the shithousing. Like I think that's something that we could do less with. I would not be upset about that.
We could. I just wouldn't expect the Premier League to move quickly on this.
That's fair.
Once again, not their thing. And I hate to put it this way because this sounds harsh and insensitive as I say this. Andre Gomes, not a big enough superstar to bring immediate change. Yeah, and like I said, that sounds asshole-ish and that sounds horrible. But, okay, let's say this had happened to, say it happened to Harry Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Say it happened to Marcus Rashford.
Mm-hmm.
Say it happened to Kevin De Bruyne.
Mm-hmm.
I think now, especially the first two, because those are England golden.
Mm.
I think that might get that public outcry going. I mean, once again, I think it's a nice. And then it's Andre Gomes. I don't think it's going to get the ball rolling for any change of anything. I think we might be kind of grasping at straws there.
All right. Well, so that was that match, and just a very, very odd match. And we will see how both teams end up recovering. Everton.
And I'll throw this. I mean, as far as everything else, for Tottenham, that's another disappointing result. I mean, Everton suck.
Yeah, you do. I do wonder if Son doesn't get sent off. Now, obviously, as a lot of people point out online, even if you don't send him off, he's coming out. He's getting subbed out like immediately after that happens because of he can't keep going after that. There's no way emotionally he could have been able to keep playing. But I do wonder if it's a full strength Tottenham team at 11 men instead of 10. If maybe they hold on through the extra 12 minutes of stoppage time that took place. So I do wonder about that. Plus we'll get into their Champions League match as well. Going forward, that may have proven to be a bit of a watershed moment, especially in terms of lineup going forward. I think that'll be pretty interesting.
I mean, obviously we'll hit the table a little later in the show, but I mean, Tottenham still, more losses than wins on the season now for Tottenham. More losses and more draws than wins. It's just not what we expected to see from Tottenham Hotspur this season. And I do think, as bad as this has been, at the moment, I almost wonder if this may be, and like you said, turn a watershed. This might be the distraction that Spurs could need to kind of get out of that funk that they're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
there's starting to be positive signs, and hey, while they are 10 points right now out of a Champions League spot, they're not very far away from the rest of the group. And what's funny is you could almost argue that there's two teams in front of them, in Arsenal and United, that are in much bigger disarray than Tottenham are. So there's, I think, definitely chances for Tottenham to jump up here in the coming weeks if they are really turning the corner here. Team that does not need to turn the corner just yet is Liverpool, their final match of the week. Another come from behind victory where they give up a somewhat early goal, this time to Aston Villa, and it's on Andy Robertson to bail them out in the 87th minute to pull even, and then Sadio Mane in the 94th to win it. I'm going to quickly go here to their results page, and I'm just going to look right now. This is Liverpool's recent form. Win against Aston Villa 2-1, win against Tottenham 2-1, draw United 1-1, beat Leicester 2-1, beat Sheffield 1-0, beat Chelsea 2-1.
We kind of have a theme going.
Yeah. Also in there was the crazy League Cup Arsenal match, which take it that way you will. And then I believe also there was the Genk match, Champions League match this week. That was also 2-1. And right. I don't remember what the previous one was. That was a much more comfortable one.
4-1.
Yeah. So I guess what I have to ask you is, Wes, and I will explain, obviously, for those uninitiated with this phrase, is this a worrying trend for Liverpool, or is this a hashtag worrying trend? For those of you who do not know what hashtag worrying trend is, that is a phrase coined about 5 or 6 years ago in League of Legends when people were like, hey, this certain player looks really bad, and then he just absolutely decimated people, and so it became hashtag worrying trend. So but that is true. Now, Liverpool have sometimes struggled a little bit defensively. It feels like they've switched off sometimes this year. Still very good, just maybe not at the heights we saw last year. They don't have Joel Matip, who is very, very important for them as part of that back line in terms of last season's defensive stoutness. And obviously, they're still winning. So there can't be that much of a problem, but it does seem like it's... I can't tell if this is just Liverpool being resolute and able to come back from anything, or if maybe there's a few cracks in the dam and they're like trying to start throwing fingers and plugging holes in them and stuff.
Here's my deal. I'm not worried at all.
You're West Positive Bradshaw. Why would you be
worried?
I
am West Positive Bradshaw. We know I'm the most positive person on earth, but me, Klopp coined the phrase near the end of the season, mentality monsters. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that's just what Liverpool are. I mean, you're down 1-0 on the road to Aston Villa. You hooked your best player, Mo Salah, at like the 60-some minute mark because he was just terrible on the day. Klopp didn't play Fabinho, trying to save him for City because he's sitting on 4 yellow cards. Mm-hmm. Everything in the world going against you. You're looking ahead to the biggest game of the Premier League season. And what do? Liverpool just kept coming. Liverpool are like the ocean. They just keep coming in waves. And at the end of the day, they're not stopped. They score 2 goals late. Andy Robertson, of all people, getting the equalizer. And then Sadio Mane, who had been absolutely dreadful on the day. This Sadio Mane, who right now might be the best player in the Premier League. Absolutely dreadful on the day. And what does he do when everything matters most? He finds the ball, puts it on his head, and gets a winner. Liverpool right now have the feeling of, oh God, I hate saying this so much because it's one of my most dreaded Premier League memories ever. It feels like Fergie time. I mean, Manchester United were the absolute kings in the 90s and throughout the 2000s of, they would have a shit day. They would be off. Nothing would be going their way. You would be up. Everything would be going your way. And then all of a sudden they would find 2 goals to beat you somehow. And you know what? That's why they won a shit ton of Premier League titles. I believe it's got to be kind of frightening for Liverpool's opponents and for the Premier League that right now, sitting on the fact that Liverpool haven't played very well. Overall, Liverpool haven't played that well. And they're on pace for the greatest Premier League season ever. They sit atop the league, 10 wins, 1 draw. They've dropped 2 points on the entire season. And to top it off, after we play City, we've played all the top teams in the league. Mm-hmm. We played Tottenham. We played, out of the big 6. We would have played everybody out of the big 6 plus Leicester. And if we get a win against City, we would have dropped 2 points out of the whole thing. So, I mean, that's got to be terrifying. And then when you take into account that, man, Liverpool aren't playing, and yet they keep winning. Because you've just got that feeling somewhere in you that front 3 can click at any time. And we know they can because we've seen that front 3 click at any time. Now you add in the fact that suddenly Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has goals in his last starts. The fact that, they might have found a goal threat from midfield. Allison is rounding back into form. I think we put off the fact that he missed 2 months of the season and is just coming back. No Matip right now. One semi-worrying thing is Joe Gomez is He hasn't really gone back to the heights he had hit last season. Lovren, I mean, there's no worry with Lovren. There's nothing. There's nothing even think about there. He is 100% Dejan Lovren, so
Yeah.
Nothing new there. Van Dijk has been really good this year. He hasn't been maybe, it's almost like he's kind of got like a little Mo Salah syndrome. That second season where he was best in the world level a year ago. And I'm not talking about best center back in the world. I'm talking best level, much like Salah was his first year at Liverpool. And now he might have come down a pace. But when and everyone compares him to that, man, he's still probably the best central defender in the world. So, Trent Alexander-Arnold is taking a step up. Andy Robertson is at the same level he's been at. Fabinho seems like he's taking a step up. I just think, they've given up 9 goals through 11. That's second best in the league. Leicester and Sheffield United have given up 8. Liverpool given up 9. I mean, I don't see anything to worry about with Liverpool at that level. The only thing I have to worry about with Liverpool really is the fact that, and we'll obviously talk about this later, are there enough days in the week for Liverpool to play all their damn matches? And that's going to be an issue, is how healthy can they stay? Liverpool have depth, but how healthy can all that depth stay when literally you look at their schedule for the next 2 months and they're playing every 3 or 4 days? I mean, Liverpool from pretty much here on, other than I think until the international break in January, play twice a week. I mean, it's Champions League, or it's Club World Cup, or it's Carabao Cup, or it's FA Cup, or it's just December Premier League scheduling. That's going to be Liverpool's toughest opponent. Is going to be getting themselves off the mat every day to play. But as far as the way Liverpool are playing, they've got a mentality that they just have that mentality, and that's carried them this far. If the front three can snap into form, that to me, that's just got to be terrifying for everybody ahead of them.
So one thing I would say is, because I love my numbers, I love my math.
You giant nerd, you.
I am. It's true. That's why I wear glasses.
That's right. Very good point.
So there is a stat called expected goals, which is basically like based on shots and shot selection, how many goals should a team expect to have scored in a match, and how many should they have expected to give up in a match. And right now, with the numbers on expected goals and expected goals against, and then translating that into expected points, Liverpool are currently outperforming their expected point total by a little over 8 points. So that is the, if there is a worry, and as you say that, yes, they aren't playing yet at maybe their peak level. The worry is that they have not been playing at their peak, but they've also been very fortunate. And the worry is that if that fortunate side collapses a little without the play coming up to balance it out, that Liverpool could start to fall hard. And when I say hard, I mean become the second best team in the league instead of the first. So it's very, very, very steep drop. Exactly. So I do think that with their schedule coming up, with that very tight schedule coming up, there is a chance that Liverpool could regress back to what their expected numbers are. And in that scenario, that there is a bit of worry there for Liverpool going forward. Now, having said that, that doesn't take into account mental fortitude. That expected goals doesn't take that into account. There is something definitely to be said there for that. But I think if there is an actual worrying trend, it is how far above their, if in baseball it would be, your Pythag, which is very simple. It's based on how many runs you've scored and how many runs you've allowed. What about should your win-loss be? And if you're vastly overperforming that, you're probably going to regress to the mean. Baseball, obviously, also very much longer season than soccer. So there's more chance to regress, whereas in football, you're playing, like a quarter of a baseball season, basically. So there is a chance that you can continue to outperform your expected values. But that is, if there is anything, it is that while Liverpool have not been playing great, they're still outperforming what they should have. And that is the worry, that if a couple things don't quite break their way, they could be in relative, with air quotes, trouble. So, again, a lot will be determined this coming weekend. This is absolutely mammoth. Obviously for the SEC with LSU and Alabama, but also in the Premier League. It's going to be a big one, folks. Your match schedule for this week is Friday, 3 p.m., not as big, Norwich versus Watford. That is a relegation battle, though. On Saturday, starting at 7:30, you get Chelsea Palace, 10 a.m., Newcastle Bournemouth, Southampton Everton, Tottenham versus Sheffield. That's a big one. And Burnley versus West Ham. Then at 12:30, top 6 teams, Leicester and Arsenal square off. And then on Sunday at 9 a.m., you get Manchester versus Brighton and Hove, and Wolves and Aston Villa. And then at 11:30, to close out the weekend, it is Liverpool versus City. The verbal shithousing has already started this week by both teams. Wes, give us your couple-minute preview of what is going to be going down at Anfield this weekend.
Some of the big keys of this for Man City is the continued absence of American support. And on the other side of the pitch for them, the absence of David Silva. Now, of course, if any team is built to handle the absence of a David Silva, it is Manchester City. I think it's going to be really interesting to see the defensive partnership that Pep puts out against Liverpool. Mind games are abounding this week.
Never expected that.
It's been great. It started with Pep making just the offhand comment about
he can be the best in the world, or he sometimes dives.
He dives. It's okay. And Mane kind of coming back in the humble way that Sadio Mane can. Oh, I would never do anything like that. I don't have that, but I will do anything to win. And then Jurgen Klopp saying, "Oh, I understand where he's coming from." We said I wouldn't say anything about tactical fouling. I'm not going to say anything about that. It's like, shit, man. Here we go. So they've been at it this week. The healthy central defensive back partnership is John Stone. That could be a complete recipe for disaster against this Liverpool squad. That just seems to be where this match is. Liverpool attacking them. Because it's just you have to feel Liverpool are going to be ready for that City attack. Fabinho, of course, taking last Saturday off, so he's there. If he gets a yellow card, well, it doesn't matter because this is the one that matters.
Right.
So you're going to have Fabinho back. You'll have. I am guessing that back line is going to be Trent, Lovren, Van Dijk, and Robertson. Can can Lovren play within himself and not just lose his shit? Which usually it takes Lovren a few matches. He's had a few matches, a lot better in the Champions League match. And usually he'll give he loses his shit.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he's got a good match in him. It'll be interesting to see who Klopp goes to in midfield with Oxlade-Chamberlain being so good recently.
Mm-hmm.
He does give Liverpool that other kind of look in midfield.
Now, I've seen some people saying, and these are the internet camaraderie, that they like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. They like him a lot, but they think that his defensive, what he lacks a little bit in defense and being able to track back, might be a bit of a hindrance, especially against a team like City.
And that's the thing, he is the definition of an attacking midfielder. And I mean, he will get back and press. He will griff some. But when you look at the big game midfield that we've seen from Jurgen Klopp recently, it's been Fabinho at the base, Jordan Henderson, and Gini Wijnaldum going forward. Henderson has been under the weather this week, playing the Champions League match. Due to that, you got to assume he'll be fit by Sunday. That is kind of Jurgen Klopp's tried and trusted midfield. So does he want to stick with the tried and trusted midfield, or does he want to shift someone out and kind of add to that dynamism and bring in an Alexander? Or, God, we got so many two-name guys all the Oxlade-Chamberlain, who does give you that extra scoring threat. And don't forget the last time Manchester City saw Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, he was absolutely terrorized.
Right.
Of course, in the 4-3 match a couple ago, and then in the Champions League quarterfinal where he just pile drove City nearly by himself. And he's really back into. So there is, it's a good problem for Jurgen Klopp to have. I have talent in my midfield. What do I do with this talent in my midfield? It's a good problem to have. I think it's going to come down to the two defense and who really steps up on the day. That's my key to the match. Is both attacks are going to be there and ready to do the thing. It's going to be who can control the field and who can
right. Well,
of course, the tiebreaker at the end of the day. This is Anfield.
Yeah,
this is our fortress where we haven't lost in nearly 3 years.
And that has been absolutely gigantic. Obviously, a draw would not be a poor result for Liverpool. It would keep City 6 points back.
Yeah.
So we will see if it's going to be a big one. And we saw last year the razor thin margins that decided some of these matches last year.
And really, you look back at last year. The draw at Anfield, and then the so the 1-0 or a 2-1 at City, I can't remember. But
I think it was 1-0 with the one potential Liverpool goal getting barely
and
clear.
11 millimeters and got hooked out of
literally razor.
Literally, the last possible moment was hooked out, and that was the 11 millimeters. If Liverpool, pegs City back there, we win the league. Based on all form going forward, we win the league. So obviously these are the two matches that determined the league last year. And most likely they're going to be the two matches that determine, because if Liverpool get a head-to-head on City, and everybody talks about the big lead Liverpool had a year ago, but also City had matches in hand. And that is something about City had the matches in hand. Well, by the time things roll out, Liverpool are going to have the match in hand, having the West Ham match due to the Club World Cup. And if you get the 9-point lead now and you head, mean, there's something to that. So massive, massive weekend on Merseyside. Of course, Liverpool trying to break this 30-year duck of not winning the league.
Mm-hmm.
And they know they're going to have to go through Manchester City to get there.
And that will start this Sunday, their first of 2 meetings in the Premier League this season.
Somebody's planning to go to the pub.
Other matchups to be determined. As we said, Liverpool do lead by 6. City are still 2 up on Leicester and Chelsea in 3rd and 4th, respectively.
It's crazy. Just to interrupt, it's crazy how City are up 2 points on those, and yet absolutely no one even can. Those two is like any sort of a threat to second place.
Well, and I think that's because Chelsea are very young, and a lot of times
and very inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. We saw in the Champions League this week. And Leicester, like, we knew they'd be good, but we didn't think that they'd be this good, and that other teams like Arsenal and United and Spurs would have taken a step back through the first quarter of the season. So
and especially with Leicester, they're gonna have.
Mm-hmm.
Season because still no one's that sold on Leicester. So.
Exactly.
But, I mean, people are saying they're a good team, but as far as truly being sold on Leicester, I'm kind of like the rest of them. I'll wait till February.
Well, and the big thing, they don't have European football, unlike most of these other clubs around them.
That's right. Absolutely right.
It is something that helps. Arsenal are in 5th. Sheffield United are in joint 6th with Bournemouth. Big shakeups at the top of the table. But at the bottom of your heart's relegation zone, it's Everton, who's currently sitting in 17th, just outside. Inside is Southampton, who are 3 points from safety. Norwich, and then Watford. Watford still looking for their first win of the season. We'll see. We'll see if they get it. We'll see if they get it this weekend. They're playing. I've already forgotten. They are playing Norwich. They're playing Norwich. That's right. So a chance for a win there at the head to Carroll Road. All right, the Champions League. Let's get to it. Through Group 4, we started to lock in some teams into the next round. Real Madrid making their case to advance out of Group A with a convincing 6-0 victory over Galatasaray, their first big win of this entire group stage. Very important for them. And then PSG, ho-hum, 1-0 victory over Club Bruges through Mauro Icardi's 22nd minute goal. With that, Galatasaray cannot advance in the Champions League. They could still theoretically get into the Europa League knockout rounds by finishing 3rd. PSG, they're through, and with 1 point, they'll advance as group winners. Real Madrid have almost locked in a Champions League knockout spot, but they do need just a few more points. But Wes, at the end of the day, for as rough as it's been for Real Madrid at some times, it looks like with 2 matches left, they probably won't win the group as they're 5 points back at PSG with 2 matches to play. But it does look like the national nightmare is over. They are going to go through to the Champions League knockout round.
If Madrid make a bunch of guys just shut up around there. Madrid are not having this horror season that everyone's thinking that it makes it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they're not
Galacticos.
They're not as dominant as they were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry to say they're not as dominant as they were. I mean, they're tied at the top of the league right now, and they're not the dominant, force of personality that they've been in the past. Part of that's no Cristiano Ronaldo, but I mean, this is not a bad Real Madrid team. They just have kind of a bad vibe, but results-wise, they're not doing half bad right now. They're really doing pretty well.
Just real quick, Wes mentioned that Real Madrid currently tied atop the La Liga standings. They're currently tied with Barcelona and Real Sociedad. It is crazy. Right now, La Liga, Barcelona leads on goal differential. They are only 7 points clear of 14th placed Eibar.
Oh yeah, and already have as many.
this league, Getafe is at 19 points. They're 3 points out of the league lead, and they're in 7th. This is absurd.
Yeah. And then you look at someone like Atletico Madrid, 6 draws in 12 matches, and they're 1 point out of first place. I mean, it is absolute insanity in La Liga. And like we said, just to throw a little something at Barcelona, because I'll talk them in a moment. Barcelona are, if you listen to everyone, Barcelona shambles right now.
Yeah.
And they're leading the league. But, 3 losses already. And, they do not look good.
No.
I'll put it that way. They're Barcelona, but they do not look.
They're starting to look old. And that is a scary, scary proposition for them right now. So again, PSG and Real looking good to go through. Also starting to get settled a little bit in Group B. Bayern Munich with a comfortable 2-0 victory in the second half over Olympiacos. Lewandowski and Ivan Perisic on the board for the Germans. But big win for Tottenham Hotspur as they go to Red Star, which is definitely not an easy place to play. But they get a comfortable 4-0 victory. Giovanni Lo Celso, his first start for Tottenham, he's on the board with, as was on the Spurs Reddit earlier today, a highlight. It was the footage of the goal set to Benny Hill music, because that is what that goal was. It was just crossbar and then miss and then miss and then miss and then finally Lo Celso puts it in. So very, very comical. But Heung-min Son does come back from the tragedy of the weekend to score a brace within 4 minutes in the second half, and then Wantaway Christian Eriksen even picked up a goal in the 85th minute. Overall, a big result for Tottenham, as this means that with even just a draw against Olympiacos in their next match, assuming Red Star does not beat Bear next time we're in the Champions League, Tottenham will be going through, as amazing as it is. They have almost no chance to win the group. Bayern Munich, perfect 4 wins in 4 matches. But Tottenham, Wes, just about a month ago, we were coming off the horrendous loss to Bayern Munich 7-2, and now still, after 2 big wins against Red Star, they look very likely to get through the group and back into the Champions League knockout stage.
They do. It's almost like kind of like a respite for Spurs, because the Premier League has just been so crazy for so many teams, and it's so tight in there that it's almost like, let's just get to the continent and we can breathe a little bit. Trust me, been there, lived that life before. So right now we're seeing somewhat of a different Spurs in the Champions League than what we're seeing in the Premier League. It's almost like there's not as much, there's just not as much pressure really in the Champions League.
I also think
they're getting a chance to play with a little bit.
I was also going to say, I just think the lineup is better. I think they played a center back pairing today of Sanchez and Dyer, which looked good. Again, Lo Celso looks like he's going to be the starter moving forward, which is a great thing. Ndombele didn't play, which, that's fine. He'll be back on the weekend. Or actually, I'm sorry, he did play. I thought he played, and I just didn't see him there at first in the lineup. Juan Foyth also getting to play. Ryan Sessegnon finally on the bench now the last 2 matches. He gets in there for a little bit of time. I think we're starting to see. We had to blunt him in, Wes. We're blunting him in. But I think finally we're starting to see the Tottenham that we might be seeing the rest of the season, at least in terms of personnel. Whether we're going to see this kind of quality the whole year, I don't know. But I think Pochettino is finally starting to round his lineup that he wants into shape, which is hopefully good news for Spurs moving forward.
And hopefully for Spurs too, that injury. I think that's been a little. God, they've just been guys, every time guys start to do something, it's like something happens to them.
Yeah.
Or they're coming back and they just haven't found form. There's just so many little things that have been going on. Plus all the other things around them. So, let's say, hopefully going to Europe, getting a nice win. Hopefully that'll just lift the spirits in that clubhouse. And it'll get some guys feeling, okay, I'm not terrible. Yeah. I'm not playing like shit. Hey, I've got a good match. Lo Celso being back, that can only help. He's a big summer signing. If he comes back and is in some form, that's going to be a help to him. Spurs, I think Spurs still have a very high ceiling.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
For this season. Even with where they are right now. I mean, let's start out. They're not winning the league that. Yeah. But I would not be surprised come the end of May that Spurs are sitting in fourth, if not third place.
Yeah, they definitely have a chance, and hey, it didn't look like it about a month ago, but hey, if they can beat Sheffield United, that would be another good sign.
Where's that match at?
I believe it's at Tottenham.
Okay, it's at yet to be named stadium.
Yes.
And I just think too, if they can just a win on the road,
that too, yeah, that
will. And hey, maybe this one.
It was on the road.
And getting a win. I mean, that's shit. We saw what Red Star did last year. They beat the champions of Europe, the 6-time champions of Europe. They beat Napoli there. They pulled the roost at home last year in that Champions League group. Just didn't do anything on the road. So we know Belgrade's not an easy place to go play. So give Spurs all the credit in the world. Not only they go there, they the sails out of that place early and cruised. Absolutely cruised to a victory. Absolutely. So that is big time for Spurs. And as you said, and I agree, hopefully that's going to get this. Now, there is another story in that group. If we want to talk a little Bayern Munich real quick.
Just go for it.
Niko Kovac is out after their horrendous loss over the past weekend in the Bundesliga. This is a team right now that is not winning the Bundesliga. Fourth. I don't have it in front of me. I believe they're like in fourth place.
I'll pull it up.
And they just look like shit. So they have they've hired the interim manager, and now the question comes: do they keep a year? Do they go out and get somebody? Do we bring in Arsene Wenger? Yes. The answer is yes.
Said he never refused to talk to them.
Arsene Wenger and Erik Ten Hag are two of the bigger names on there. Ten Hag, of course, at Ajax. Yeah, you would think somebody like Ten Hag maybe wait until the off season to make a move like this, a big move like this for him. But Arsene Wenger, his small ultra European leather duffel bag, I'm sure is ready to go. So man, how insane would it be if Wenger came back? But for Bayern, they're kind of sitting on where are Bayern going to go? It's a talented club, but the direction was just completely off this year. There was no respect for Kovac left in that locker room, and he had completely lost the plot. And right now, this is a Bayern team trying to find their.
Yep, and you were right, Wes. They are currently on fourth. They're joint third on points, behind, and they're just behind Leipzig on goal differential. So.
Ralph Rangnick, also a name float around there, but I don't think Rangnick. I've actually heard Rangnick might be a Premier League target if say an Arsenal or a Manchester United decide to make an in-season move.
Well, we're not going to talk about it because we don't talk about the Europa League. But there was some talk that going to today's, because they played today. Arsenal Europa League match that if Arsenal did not get a win, this might be in the road for Emery. They drew 1-1. We'll talk about that.
Skadr Mustafi, the hero.
Yes.
God, that's so bad.
We'll talk about that in news and notes a little bit, though. Group C, City, they still look pretty comfortable. They did draw against Atalanta this week. 1-1.
God, did you see all the shit that went down in that match today?
I did not. What happened?
So, at halftime, they pulled Ederson.
Oh, because I saw Bravo got sent off. I did see that.
Right. They pulled Ederson at halftime, and I don't know if he has a niggle, but Claudio Bravo came in. Bravo got a red card, and Kyle Walker had to go play keeper for the rest of the second half.
Oh.
And I apparently made a really nice save on a free. So, God, Claudio Bravo, what a fucking shit house he's been.
Yes, it does look like that. It was precautionary that Ederson was taken off. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's got a little niggle. I mean, it seems kind of odd to take your goalkeeper out for no reason to preserve him. It's like, I mean, they don't really get tired. So, so probably has a niggle. Kyle Walker ended up playing keeper, and they got a draw. So that can't really be the end of the world. Of course, they're so okay in their group, it wasn't really an issue for them.
Wow, what a terrible foul by Bravo. So they draw 1-1. Dynamo Zagreb also draws Shakhtar 1-1 in a crazy match. Each team scored a goal early, and then nothing much happened until the final 10 minutes. Zagreb scored in the 83rd, and then scored to make it 3-1 in the 89th, and you think, well, that's it. And then Shakhtar scores in the 93rd, and then gets a penalty in the 98th minute to level things up. And this is huge because both teams stay level on points in the table and are fighting for second place. They're both 5 adrift from City. City's going to win the group. But this is big because second place moves on to the Champions League knockout stage. Third drops to Europa. And Wes, these are two teams that absolutely would love to be able to jump into that knockout stage. You even said you wanted Dynamo last time we talked to go through, as we've seen Shakhtar. We've seen them. But just
new blood.
Exactly. So we'll see, because man, that is big time. And right now, if it comes down to it, Shakhtar though does lead on head-to-head away goals. So that is the tiebreaker right now. Again, they both will still have to play City. Zagreb gets them at home. Shakhtar does not. So it will be decided in the final 2 matches who goes through. Very, very tight group there. Group D, also a little tight, thanks to a bit of a surprise result today. Not Juventus. They were able to get through thanks to a last gasp winner from Douglas Costa as they beat Lokomotiv 2-1. Atletico, they also got a last gasp goal, but they were not so lucky. They fall 2-1 to Bayer Leverkusen on the road. Alvaro Morata, the only scorer for Madrid in this one. So Juventus lead the group with 10 points. Atletico have 7. Still in okay shape, as Moscow and Leverkusen both have just 3 points. So you expect both of them to go through, but this is one where you expect Juventus and Madrid to keep jockeying for who's going to win the group. And now, next Champions League week, Juventus will be hosting Atletico. And after Atletico drops these 3 points, this now looks like Juventus' group to lose, Wes.
Well, Juventus, with their victory today, they are guaranteed. I think 3 teams already punched their ticket after today.
Yes,
Juventus are one of them. Juventus, PSG, and Barca?
Bayern.
Bayern, that's right. Yeah, definitely not Barca. No, never mind. Not with that group. Kind of the funny story out of the Juventus match today. So one stat about Cristiano Ronaldo, kind of a moment. So we all never enjoy failing of Ronaldo. Anyway.
Never.
Somebody as great as Ronaldo, something doesn't go right. So Ronaldo, known as one of the best free kick takers in the world, since coming to Juventus, has not scored on a free kick. Has been just atrocious at them. So today, and I haven't seen it yet, but I'd read it, he has a free kick, and it looks like he beats the keeper. The ball is about to, and Aaron Ramsey gets on the therefore denying Ronaldo's free kick. His free kick goal. And scoring his first Champions League goal for Juventus. Good job, Aaron Ramsey. You're there. You play for them. Good job. So that's just kind of the little side highlight of today is poor Ronaldo, who's led such a tough life.
I know, poor Christian.
Hasn't gotten his free kick goal. And it continues. Thank you, Aaron Ramsey.
The best thing you've done since leaving Arsenal.
And unfortunately for that means somebody's gonna. Does that still hold in Italy? I don't.
Speaking of holding, Liverpool hold on to a 2-1 victory over Genk in Group E. This one, as we mentioned, a little bit closer than the last time these two teams met. Oxlade-Chamberlain with the eventual winner in this one for Liverpool. But Genk with some chances late on, and Alisson having to make some crucial saves at the end. Napoli also drawing to Red Bull Salzburg 1-1.
You just call them Napoli?
Napoli!
Great way to throw that on.
Yes.
That's right.
Calzone. Spaghetti. They unfortunately dropped 2 points that would have seen them go back to the top of the group. So now Liverpool lead the group by 1 point. Both of them are at least assured of Europa League round of 32. Yay. And I'm sure both of them will most likely be going through. Of course, those teams will be meeting next match week in Anfield. But Wes, again, another 2-1 victory for Liverpool in what was described as a somewhat subdued Fortress Anfield for the week.
Very flat. I really think in between the whole fact of after what happened with Aston Villa, of that, and the obvious, whatever anybody wants to say, they got to be looking ahead to City this week. That match is just so massive, as we talked about earlier. And then the fact you're playing at home in Genk, who you just pretty much annihilated in Belgium. Yeah, there's no doubt, whatever Klopp wants to say, Liverpool are looking ahead. Add to the fact you shuffled up the lineup. You didn't start Firmino. You didn't start Mane. Did I start Mane? No, didn't start Mane. Did not start Mane. Did not start Trent. Did not start Jordan Henderson. Didn't start. Didn't start Lovren. It was a very changed Liverpool side. It was a let's do enough to get the job done Liverpool side. And I think that rolled to the fan base. I mean, normally in a European week, as soon as that Premier League match is over, all right, hey, we got Champions League this week. Here's what we get. Excitement. This week, it is all centered around City. All the talk has been around the City match. Good reason. Now, I mean, if Liverpool had been playing, say, really push some things differently. But, I mean, it's Genk.
Yeah.
And for everything, I mean, it's the 8th place team in Belgium right now. And a team you just beat 4-1. This is what happens. You look past those teams. And Liverpool were fortunate to come out there with a victory. A deserved victory, don't get me wrong. It was literally what I know you joke with me about, well, they should have scored 5. Salah should have had a break. Didn't score. I mean, there was 1 or 2 more they had really, and you would have expected them to score. On the end of the night, you know what? Liverpool were the better team, but it's just because they're that much Genk, and they deserve their win. They deserve their 3 points. And now, just to touch on Napoli, really, my God, you want to talk about a grease fire? We're in England, so we're not talking about it. Napoli is having like a full-fledged meeting down now. It's being led by the may quit his job in the next week.
Oof.
Apparently, there was a training camp, basically, that the upper management wanted to, and the players are like, "No, we're not going. No, we don't want to go to this. We're not going." And then Ancelotti was like, "Yeah, I'm with the guys. There's no need for this. This is stupid." So now it's like them against management, and then they go and they with Salzburg, and It is not pretty down in there. 2 wins, 2 draws in their 4 Champions League matches. After getting that match week against, thought they were kind of going to away. Instead, they find themselves in second, and if they don't get their shit straight, Salzburg could come around because Salzburg have Genk in the next. They took Genk to school in the first match on match day 1. So if they can do that, that puts them on. And you've got to favor Liverpool. So they could be tied on 7, or I'm sorry, they could point lead the group the final match day, or a 1-point lead over getting into the knockout round. And if they come out of this group and you could give them a pass last year, Liverpool this year, where they were easily the second best team in this group, supposedly. If they don't get out, I mean, there's some hell to pay down. So this group definitely has some, even though really there is some intrigue still in this group.
I do love intrigue. And as you mentioned, there is some going on in Barcelona right now as well, in a group that is nowhere near done and dusted. Barcelona draws Slavia Prague at home 0-0. And on the other side, Dortmund... This feels like this has been Inter Milan's story this entire tournament. They get a 2-0 lead, and they just completely blow it. They had an early lead against Barcelona on the road, lost that. They get this 2-0 lead on Dortmund. Dortmund storms back in the second half, gets 3 straight goals to win. And with that, Dortmund sits second place in the group, 3 points clear of Inter, and just 1 point back of Barcelona after their draw. Even with Inter Milan still 3 points back, they have to go to Slavia Prague, and then they get Barcelona at home at the San Siro. I don't know. I'm still not ready to count Inter Milan out, but if they don't advance, these 2 matches on the road against Dortmund and Barcelona, where they could have at least gotten a point, if not all 3, they're going to be kicking themselves.
Oh, absolutely. And, they're and for Inter, with as well as they're playing, they've got to be seriously disappointed that this is where they've left themselves through 4 matches in the Champions League. I mean, they are a good squad. Obviously, it's a brutal group, but I mean, they have no one at this point to blame but themselves.
So we will see if they're able to shake it off there. In Group G, the group it's like, I don't know. Leipzig have taken a commanding lead now, sort of. They are 2-0 victors over Zenit on the road. Big win for them. And then Lyon beats Benfica 3-1. Memphis Depay scores another goal for Lyon. Good for him. Benfica and Zenit are near the bottom. Leipzig at 9 points leads the group. Lyon is in second with 7. Zenit is in third with 4 points. They are going to need to make up some points in a hurry. They will get a chance against Lyon in what could be an elimination match there. If Lyon's able to get at least a point, that will just about lock up the group.
I just love how somehow Zenit stay in fucking pot 1.
Yeah, it's Russia, dude. It's fucking Russia. And then finally, Group H. You want to talk about crazy matches? First of all, Valencia beats Lille 4-1. Lille got the first goal, and then Valencia got the other 4, and they took care of business. And then there was Chelsea-Ajax, which, to paraphrase something I said last week about the Liverpool-Arsenal League Cup match, of all the Champions League group stage matches I have seen, this was certainly one of them. God,
this was just the.
Oh my God, 4-4.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think that's something? Hold my beer.
We had
what a match.
4-4 is the final. Ajax gets 2 own goals from Chelsea, Chelsea gets 2 penalties, including one that was the end result of 2 players getting sent off for Ajax for 2 different things. And Ajax having to play the last, 15 minutes down to 9 men all of a sudden. There was a VAR replay where the ball accidentally went off Tammy Abraham's hand, and so it didn't count. Abraham also one of the own goals in the match. We had a goal go off Kepa's face. We had Chelsea miss a pair of sitters at the end that would have won it. What do you do after a match like this? If you're Chelsea, you came back from down 4-1 through a confluence of bizarre things, but you also could have just won it. I don't know how you feel after a match like this.
This is one of those, after a high school or college or pro football game, this is one of those where the coaches say after the game, they're like, all right, tape, we're not watching it either. Just move on to the next one. Ajax went from being completely in control to, I think, I can see them right now on the fight back to Amsterdam. Just complete silence.
Yeah.
And every now and then, the only time you look up, you what the hell just happened? As the old YouTube video with the kid after the dental surgery. I can't feel my hand. That's basically what this turned into. A nightmare, kind of a disturbing drug-induced dream for Chelsea. It's you can't say, man, we played great. No, you played like shit.
Yeah.
And you somehow found a series of unfortunate events for Ajax that turned things back to your favor, that kept you in this group. But, you want to talk about a group that's tight. I'm talking Arsenal, Jersey, tight.
These nups might be too tight, almost.
Here you go with 2 matches to go. They played out each other, so now it comes down to 2 match days. Say that is an absolute. And then there's Valencia, who just no one's paying any attention. 7.
Yeah,
because, why would you at this point?
Yeah, Ajax, Chelsea, and Valencia all at 7 points. Valencia, because of tiebreakers, are actually in 3rd place. But again, Valencia gets Chelsea at home next match week. And if they can win there, that is huge. Ajax, of course, will be taking on Lille. But if Ajax and Valencia find wins next week, it's going to be so hard for Chelsea to get out of this group. Especially when
also whatever else happened in the last week, you're going to have Valencia. And they could be battling for either. Anything could still be up for grabs.
True, very true. Or they could just agree to play to a draw, and Chelsea's out. So,
yeah, anything could be happening here.
It's gonna be
they
cray.
both drawing, and we go in with 3 teams on 8 points.
Let it happen, folks. So that'll be
drama.
Something we watch next Champions League, which will be Thanksgiving week. Hey, that Tuesday and Wednesday will be spare us your Turkey Day football. This is the only football we'll need that week.
Unfortunately, on Turkey Day it'll be. Yeah. Unfortunately, on Turkey Day it'll be Arsenal.
Yeah.
Damn it.
The true turkeys. Hey.
There you go. Got them. The real turkeys of English football.
Oh. Well, we've been going off for a while, and I know Wes wants to get to bed pretty quickly. So we're going to go really quickly through these news and notes. As always, we love pimping the Athletic here. Great article from Daniel Taylor, who is a fantastic writer. Now 15 months in, Emery's Arsenal is a team riddled with doubt and confusion. It's a great write-up on what's going on there. And of course, as Wes mentioned earlier, in passing, due to his outburst upon being pulled a couple weeks ago, Granit Xhaka has been stripped of his captaincy. Aubameyang is now going to be the captain. So, hey, good move, Emery, I guess. I mean, it's probably about 3 months too late, but good job.
It's probably going to catch you a revolt.
Yeah.
You kind of did that by giving them the option of who the captain.
Yeah,
Don't be a strong manager and pick it yourself.
Why Emery has never been a strong manager. Also, wanted to get your thoughts on this, Wes, because it's United and they do weird things.
I always have a thought on them.
They are looking to spend, I believe, about $100 million this winter transfer on Declan Rice. Now, that's $103 million. It's about 80 million pounds. But West Ham's Declan Rice. Now, nothing against Mr. Rice, and he is young. He's young and he's English. But is Wes? Is Declan Rice worth 80 million pounds?
Just like Harry Maguire was worth. Oh my goodness! Oh, United. They want that young British core so badly. Oh man! I mean, you're literally God right now. Declan Rice, if Declan Rice was Irish, which he almost was, if Declan Rice played for Ireland and not England, midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 80 million is England.
It's
bonus,
surcharge.
basically.
Yeah, it's surcharge.
It is insanity. But United are desperate, and United, good press.
Mm-hmm.
And what's better to get good press? Obviously, winning's not that important. That wouldn't help at all, would it? Let's go out and sign and throw a shit ton of money at.
It's definitely
expect a 20-year-old to come in and pick.
It's definitely not the reports that you're about to be bought out by a Saudi group. That's
the Saudi group that murders journalists and cuts the hands off of people who steal bread.
It'll be fine. I actually saw people.
You don't need rights.
I saw people in the group saying, oh God, the Glazers are bad, but at least they're not Saudis. And people are like, Are the Glazers really, are we okay? The Glazers aren't angels, and everybody's like, dude, come on.
Yeah. It's like I saw somebody say, and we don't really care for the Glazers, but they don't, cut people's heads off.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
It's like they don't oppress the rights of an entire gender.
Yeah.
Or sexual preference in their country.
I did actually see a lot, and again, I don't actually think that's going to happen. I think that's rubbish. I did see a lot of people in the comments going, if that happens, I'm probably done with United, and I don't blame them. If a Saudi group took over Tottenham, I'd probably be done with Tottenham, to be perfectly honest. So
I'm just saying, mine may run depth, but I don't know. There are talks out there potentially being taken over one day by a China.
Mm-hmm.
Which would not make me a happy person. I think I would just maybe have to tone it down a little bit, but you can't walk away from the team. I mean, what are you going to do? It's not like I was a United fan, but now they've been taking over the Saudis. Bring on the Chelsea shirt.
Last week. No, you just go cheer for Bolton or
Exactly, but who wants to cheer for lower league clubs? Come on.
And hey, we cannot. There's nothing wrong with China. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the People's Republic of China. It is a fantastic place, and they are having to deal with so many terrible protesters down there in Hong Kong, which definitely
Isn't that right, Comrade LeBron?
It's definitely not that we are saying that Hong Kong should be free. Definitely not saying that Hong Kong
here on the Foreign Affairs
should be
podcast.
free. No, we don't deal with foreign affairs here on the Foreign Affairs podcast. We absolutely would not say that. We would not
next
say
on our NBA coverage.
Yeah. Yeah, Blizzard. It's okay.
Marv Albert here.
Oh my God, Blizzard. Poor Blizzard. Wes, final news and note. So what are Liverpool gonna do with that whole thing?
This has the potential to be.
What are you guys doing?
So, as I mentioned earlier, I may have mentioned this 4 or 5 months, but with Liverpool being crowned the 6-time champions of Europe.
You did that.
Being the European champion, one of those perks is you get invited to play Club World Cup.
Speaking of terrible country values, Qatar!
Speaking of countries that commit atrocities, welcome to Qatar. So Liverpool are scheduled to playing yet because these other places haven't finished all their shit yet. On the 21st of December, play either the place game or if it's the third place game, I might slit my own wrist. We'll see what happens. Well, on the 17th of December, Liverpool are scheduled to head quarterfinal of the Carabao.
Yay!
And this is after every option. There is no other time for Liverpool to play a match. Now, folks, one thing we didn't kind of mention, after this match day in the Premier League on Sunday, after Liverpool and City, we do have an international break. After that, when they come back from the international, is that the weekend of Thanksgiving?
I think so.
I look very quickly.
It leads into Thanksgiving.
No, the week right before.
Yeah.
That Saturday, Liverpool come back and play Crystal Palace. From there until literally the second week of January, Liverpool play 2 matches a week. There is no time for Liverpool anything else. So they have been told they have to play this Carabao Cup match. Klopp has to name a 23-man roster to take to the club, and then has to name an 18-man roster for the Carabao Cup. Now that doesn't mean that he has to take 20 players but those 23 are unavailable. There was talk of, you can play the Carabao on that Wednesday. Some of those players could leave and come to Qatar and play the Saturday match. No. Everyone on that roster who is there going to play in those matches has to be there, I believe, 2 to 3 days beforehand for promotional considerations. So Jurgen Klopp is going to have to 2 completely different teams that week to play 3 matches. How he handles it is completely off. We'll see. The feeling is he will take the senior roster to Qatar to play those 2 matches, and that would leave entirely a team of Liverpool youth players playing the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup. That would Curtis Jones, Nico Williams, Keanu Hoover, Vandenberg, Kevin Keller, guys who have been playing. But the difference with the Carabao Cup has been he usually has about 4 or 5 of the seasons in there. The likes of a James Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, Divock Origi. Those kind of guys have been playing the Carabao matches as well. But with this Club World Cup, he can't do that. So literally, Liverpool are going to play 2 matches. And holy shit is all I can say. I'm so freaking excited for that. It's not funny. You have no idea how excited I am for what is going to happen there. I absolutely adore the youth. I love the youth.
You love slutting them in.
See how my days work. Ooh, I get to watch both of them 2 days. Life is going to be good. It is going to be absolutely bizarre. It happens. But, there's nothing else Liverpool. It's completely ridiculous that, things like this aren't thought about beforehand. I mean, it's almost like the Football League was just crossing their fingers. Well, hopefully Arsenal will knock them out of the cup. Because then you wouldn't have this issue. But Arsenal didn't get the job done. So now Liverpool have to come up with a solution because how dare the Football League, plan ahead for anything?
Nah.
It's going to be absolutely fascinating. It's going to be fascinating. I mean, you're going to see guys like Kane playing for Liverpool, and oh my God, I mean, it's going to be Bobby Duncan, you damn dummy. No, you had to go to Fiorentina. So, man, just in the words of Cosmo Kramer, giddy up. I'm excited about it. That's all I can say. I'm excited.
I'm sure Liverpool is as well. It will be very interesting. Speaking of things to get excited about, let's hit the watch for, Wes. What are you watching in the week that was or the week that will be?
I finished Breaking Bad.
All right.
Finished Breaking Bad. That was awesome. I went and saw a movie the other day. I'm keeping this quick. I went and saw Zombieland Double Tap.
Ooh, Double Tap.
And let's put it this way, if you like, you'll like Double Tap. If you didn't like Zombieland, you won't like Double Tap.
Makes sense.
Fun movie. I mean, that's all I can say, man. Fun movie. Yeah, I'm not going to win any awards. Not on the level of Crawl by any means.
Oh, okay.
Nothing's quite hit the level of Crawl for me yet. But yeah, really, really solid movie. Solid hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, it's Zombieland. They're not going to try to shock you with Academy Award winning performance.
Oh yeah. We know what to expect with Zombieland.
Oui.
I will be real quick. I would of course it's November and it's finally starting to get cooler. Apparently we're gonna get snow in a week, so that's a thing. Because that's how it works. And hey, it's college basketball season, and the ACC has apparently decided, hey, open with a conference game
for multiple teams.
Yeah, North Carolina played Notre Dame tonight to start off, and Virginia starts their title defense. And in the most Virginia thing ever, they win 48-34 against Syracuse.
And folks, we do mean basketball, by the way. That's not the football score.
No. Virginia's doing pretty good in football this year, but no, that's a basketball score right there. That is not great.
Apparently, that Kobe White kid for Carolina.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Well, that scored had double doubles, or had 11.
Yeah,
5 assists. Yeah, he good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. So that'll do it for the watch for. So no Elite Raw this week from US.
Well, I've got to touch on something.
Okay, go ahead.
Saudi Arabia and everything. WWE had Crown Jewel last Thursday. From all accounts, was a successful event. Things went great. Bray Wyatt won the Universal title. The Fiend is your new Universal Champion. And then something happened which left nearly the entire crew stuck in Saudi Arabia for a day. There was no immediate answer as to why they were being detained in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
WWE is kind of cool. I'm not buying that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was something more to that. But anyway, the offshoot of that was that half of that crew was supposed to be in New York on Friday night to do SmackDown live. Well, they weren't getting to New York on time for SmackDown, so WWE had to pull out a Hail Mary. They called up the NXT crew, and NXT invaded SmackDown.
Oh my God.
I did not get the chance to see those. I'm still for at least one. I got to watch SmackDown. Folks, apparently it was absolutely fantastic. Triple H leading the this is now building into Survivor Series where it's going to be Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT at Survivor Series. So that really does work nicely. And we had a fantastic main event on Friday night as Adam Cole, who, if you know me, Adam wrestler, he is the NXT champion, took on Daniel Bryan, really one of the best SmackDown matches you will ever. And then they kept it up on Monday night, and Adam Cole took on Seth Rollins, which unfortunately I was indisposed. I completely forgot about Raw because it told me. But Adam Cole and Seth Rollins to watch ended in a actually, but WWE is now gotten to a point they're promoting NXT. I mean, NXT has 2 hours on Wednesday nights now. It's basically the third show now during the week. They're promoting NXT as a brand on par with Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown.
That's pretty good.
And that is, I mean, NXT has been kind of the underground crown jewel. Sorry to borrow the phrase from the pay-per-view. It has been like the jewel in the crown of WWE, kind of around street cred. And since debuting, it's gotten really good reviews. It's probably the best out of the three shows. And it is an immediate influx of fresh, hot talent onto the main screen for WWE. And I don't see where it can do anything.
Nice. Well,
Man.
Yeah, I will give my small part. Hey, nobody can say that Dio Madden does not fight for his friends. Brock Lesnar and the guy who, Paul Heyman, the guy who like pumps him up and whatever.
There you go.
He came over to the desk and started yelling at Jerry Lawler. And,
King!
And was like, and they were something about asking about where's Rey Mysterio. I don't know. I don't know. And Mr. Madden was not having it, and so Mr. Madden got up and got in Mr. Lesnar's face, and hey, Mr. Madden is like a few inches taller than Brock Lesnar, so he's a very big man. And for one brief, glorious moment, you saw the beauty that was Dio Madden standing up for what he believed in and taking on Brock Lesnar. And then Brock Lesnar threw him through the table.
Yeah, Brock does shit like that.
So, but hey, Dio Madden doesn't take shit from no one. And I fully expect this to go somewhere. And I really want to see Dio Madden break the shit out of Brock Lesnar. I want to see it happen. I want the redemption arc, WWE. I want it. Make it anime. I love it. I love it.
Dio Madden's still the best Wooly.
He is. I don't know that Wooly Madden would have stepped up there and protected Jerry Lawler, but Dio Madden sure as hell did. Oh, so
and you've inspired me. I have no idea what you're talking
you should go watch it. It was a pretty big slam through the table.
No, I saw the slam through the table.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was.
I just don't understand your.
It's fine.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
You're
you.
Wooly one time.
But you do you. You're the man.
Everybody remembers that one time Wooly killed that guy playing football. So that ends this episode of the podcast. I want to give a big shout out, as always, to NGSC Sports, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. You can find them on the social media, as well as us. We're there too. As a collective on Twitter, we are at AFA Pod. Wes, you are...
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
And I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. You can also email us at allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. So we will be back next week because we're on a big string of uninterrupted live programming. So big things coming there. And of course we'll be breaking down Manchester City, Liverpool. We have to. It's going to be happening. And it'll be a big recap next week in a match that I'm sure will definitely not disappoint, like so many other match of the weeks have.
So many others.
So on that note, we're about to get out of here. But before we do, Wes, anything else you'd like to add?
It is the last week of high school. At least one that I'm going to be calling. So, yeah, Hunt fight this week. Rocky Mount Northern Nash playing for second place in the Big East. Bedingfield and Southwest Edge for the East Plains title. And I'm doing Hunt fight.
Yay!
Because we got to sell
one Christmas.
One Christmas. There's no one that's trusted enough to do a second. And I'm telling you, man, you have no idea how talented you are. No other talent in that town that can call any football games.
It's true. It's
man.
Damn true.
Oh, and by the way, in our special Rocky Mount mayoral runoff, Sandy Robertson is your new mayor.
I kind of wanted to see Bronson win, just so what is it?
We did not need that.
The Rocky Mount Concerned Citizens Facebook page.
Oh, you love the.
I just wanted to see the absolute meltdown that could have happened. That's what
the meltdown would have been epic. The overall effect on the city would not have been good.
I mean, I'm not there anymore. I don't care. So
you're not there. I still have to live here.
That's true. That's actually true.
For a little while longer, I got to be here.
Yes. So, yeah, good for you, Mr. Robertson. Good for you, dude. So we'll leave it on that note. And hey, again, Alabama and LSU play if you're still into that sort of thing. And that's
I'm definitely into that sort of thing.
Yes, you are.
I plan on basically seeing a pair of in about a 12-hour time stretch, or about let's say a 16-hour time. Well, no, because it's an afternoon game. Fine, in 24 hours, I'm going to see number one version of the news.
It's big time football this weekend, folks. And I'll be back to recap it next week. But for now, he's Wes Bradshaw. I'm Edward Green. Thanks so much for joining us here on this week's episode of the Foreign Affair Podcast. Until next time, everyone, stay safe and enjoy the football.
Oh, good night, Niko Kovac. We know you'll find a job somewhere. It's not going to be in the Bayern. It will not be in the
Yeah. Sorry, Nico.
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to NGSCsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.